Democrats won, bitches. We're going to talk all about November 4th, 2025, and why it was the best day we've had in probably a full calendar year. I'm Mallory Hagan.
I'm Maggie Gehlsen-Burnett. This is Pretty Furious. This past week did more for me than my antidepressants have done in the last calendar year alone. So it's been a good week.
Overtime for our mental health.
Yes, it has been a fabulous week. Yeah, Mom, Daddy won. I'm so excited for New York. So excited for Virginia. I'm just excited for everybody. Yeah.
Historic wins from, New York to there's New Jersey, there's Virginia, and there's some other like state upsets that took place and places
Mississippi, Georgia,
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, some good ones.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Before we do, though, can't be pretty furious without being pretty first. What do you got for us today?
So my product today is this beautiful, gorgeous, lovely Hourglass blush. This is the Hourglass, what the fuck is the name of this? Ambient Lighting Blush. Perfect. This is in the shade Mood Exposure. I got this in the travel size first so I could try it out. It is gorgeous, first of all. So it's not like super, I have it on my today. It's not overtly pigmented to where you're like, oh, I'm going to look like a clown if I put this on. It's very natural. It's very nice. It just lays on the skin beautifully.
My product this week is for the lazy girls, which I am.
And me as well.
I was shaving my legs in the shower this morning, which, by the way, is a feat in and of itself right now. Look at my roots, like we're wearing glasses. I've got like an eye infection. I don't know. Anyway. But my product is the Intuition Razor for the lazy girl, especially in the winter time. I feel like in the winter, you're like, I don't really care if my knees are. It's fine, you know. But they have, and I'm sure you've seen a commercial for them at some point, but I've been using these for well over a decade. I have not bought a can of shaving cream since I was in maybe high school. I've been using the Intuition razors for that long, and they're perfect for everyday life, but specifically the winter time when you're just like, I just need to run this over my legs and call it a day. So that's my product this week. If you're into the lazy girl shave, the Intuition razor is the razor for you. Okay, products this week, check.
Gorge.
Speaking of products, though, we do have a giveaway still happening. We're so close, but go share our giveaway post. Help us reach 1,000 followers on Instagram, and we would love to send you a beautiful package of products that Maggie has
lots of goodies.
All of you. Yes. You can find us at prettyfuriouspod.com. We're also on all social channels at Pretty Furious Pod. So go like, follow, leave us a review, say hi, any one of those things. We'd love it.
Yay. Mallory, I know that this week was really exciting and it gave us all the boost of hope that we needed, but did you have any headline that made you pretty furious this week?
Oh, goodness. It's not a headline per se. It's a conversation that took place. The one and only piece of you-know-what, Joel Webbin, was doing an interview this week where he said that women are hoes.
And that we're trash, I think was also like there were many.
We belong. Our only role is to basically like run around after toddlers, and we again don't deserve the right to vote. This is a man, by the way, who is married to a woman.
He's a pastor.
Checks notes. Oh yes, that part. But like,
and also a pastor. Yeah.
Unfortunately, unsurprising at this point. He's married to a woman, and if I understand correctly, he has daughters. He has 2 daughters. So anyway, that made me pretty furious because, you know, all the reasons, gestures around. But you know what I started thinking about, Maggie? We usually do our pretty furious rants are usually about headlines, but this week I have one that's like about an experience, and I just want to share it.
Please share.
Okay. My question is, what does everyone do when they go like have a service or an experience and they're not satisfied with it, but it was really expensive?
Right.
I think about this all the time. I've had my hair done before. I've had massages before. I've gotten my makeup done before. Experiences where I walk away and I'm like, I cannot believe I just paid for that. I'm so frustrated. And I had that happen this week, and I'm not going to name what it was, but if you follow me on Instagram, you might know. But I like last minute, I booked a service. It was day of, new mom. I was just like, "Ugh, let me just go have someone else do this for me. Right.
Yeah.
And all in all, with tip and everything included, it was almost $90. And I walked out thinking I was so frustrated. Like I paid for an add-on service that I didn't really get, and
Mm,
I just hated it. Like I walked out and I was like, I can't believe I just spent that much money on that. I'm so frustrated. But I also live in a town where I don't even know how to approach that. How do you
yeah.
approach when you get a service that you're not satisfied with? What do you even do to approach it?
That is a tricky question because I'm the type of person who like, and you get this because you have also worked in the service industry,
Mhm.
where if it's a service-based situation, I feel so bad about saying literally anything.
Yep.
Like I will pay hundreds of dollars for something and walk
Before
out and
you
be
say
like,
something.
and be devastated and will never, and I will never utter a word because I'm just like I'm like, oh well, they're doing the best they can, you know. But
Yep.
I will say as I get older, it does, and as you get older and you start investing in services that are maybe more expensive, you have a little bit more disposable income, whatever. I will say that there have been times as an adult now in officially in my 30s who instances where I will make a comment or I will come back the next time and I'll be like, "Hey, just so you know last time this thing happened." I have done that. And it's not like I'm not overtly like a Karen about it. I don't try to be I'm not like, I hated this, I'm not paying for it. Like because
Right. No, I would
at the
never.
end of the day, like, yeah, and it's in exchange for their time and all of that. So I understand that. But also, I do think it's important to like let them know if there was something that you didn't prefer or didn't like. Like a great example is over the summer, I went and got my nails done to my usual gal. I had taken off my acrylic nails. I went in. She said, I can't put acrylics on your nails because they were fucking busted. And she was like, I can do Gel X though. And I go, that's fine. I've done Gel X on myself. They don't last as long as I would like them to, but if it's the only thing you can put on my nails, that's fine. And it was the weekend of my 30th birthday. And the
Which
day after, which was a celebration, okay? It was a fucking
well, I
spectacle.
was thinking more about your
Eh,
weeks following that were just like
eh,
horrendous.
Oh, yeah, and then yeah, so it's just like insult to injury. And so I was so excited about going to Chicago with my friends for my birthday. The day that we are getting on this boat that we had gotten for my birthday, one of my nails comes off. And I'm like, I got them done on a Thursday. This is a Saturday morning.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I am on a texting basis with my nail gal. So I texted her and I said, what should I do? This nail has fallen off. And she was like,
Nicely being like, are you going to fix this morning?
well, and just being like, it was more so, it wasn't that I was necessarily looking for advice. I just was like, I want you to know that
Hmm.
this thing happened that was not supposed to happen. And then I went in the next time to get my nails done and I was like, yeah, I'm never doing Gel X again. They didn't last. It was really disappointing. And she was like, okay, that's totally fine. Like we'll do, and it felt good to kind of like just say that
Just
and
leave
be
it out
like, this was not good. But
there.
I think if you're not on, but mind you, that's a person I've been going to for over a year. Like that, I think if you're not on that basis, it's harder with
Yeah.
like a one-off service you get or whatever, a day of booking, that type of thing. I also have, I mean, in really rare instances, I've left a Google review or two. Um, Not necessarily for service, like, I don't know. It was for OSF Healthcare in Peoria, Illinois. It was for the
Oh,
emergency
oh,
room.
oh, I
Yeah.
remember this saga.
Yeah. It was for
What is
the ER.
always
Yeah.
moving this saga?
I left them a scathing review and then I emailed their like patient relations department and they still try contacting me. They're like, "Can we just like have a quick I'm like, "No, I've switched hospital systems." Yeah, yeah, that was bleak. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very
I
awkward.
it is very awkward. I also have worked in the service industry, and specifically when it comes to like nails, hair, makeup, the cosmetic world. My mom was a cosmetologist and owned a salon, so not only do I understand, but I also have pretty, I think, high expectations of what you should be getting when you pay for these services.
Yeah.
For instance, when I used to get acrylic nails, it really bothered me that they didn't like push my cuticles back, or like I should have gotten a manicure and my nails done, not just whipping acrylic on my nails. Or in this instance, I got a blowout and I paid extra for a 10-minute long scalp scrub because as a person who's nursing and has a baby right now, just I was like, oh, it feels so good for someone to scrub my head. And then they didn't do it, and then I
Hey
still
God, I feel like this is a corporation, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken. I had the worst fucking experience of my life
Are
at
we
Dry
just
Bar
naming
in
it? Are we just
Chicago.
naming
Yeah, I can let's say Dry Bar. Their shit is fucked right now. My last 2 experiences at a Dry Bar have been awful,
the
horrendous,
bill? Mm.
terrible. Like
No,
Chicago and San Francisco, huge cities where like it should be like minimum standard of care.
yeah.
Why are we
Well,
not meeting that?
also, so Dry Bar came on the scene when I lived in New York, and it used to be about $40 to get a blowout.
Right.
And if I'm being honest, even though times have changed since I lived in New York, I still don't think a blowout is worth more than 40 or 50 bucks. I'm sorry, it's just not.
No.
It's a low skill, like you don't have to have any skill to give a blowout.
Yeah.
I'm not being an asshole. I'm just being like, once you learn how to give a blowout, that's all you need to be able to do. I don't even know if
Yeah.
people there have to be licensed. I don't think that they
Mhm.
do. I'm not sure. Anyway, all that to say, I was shocked by the price, which I obviously booked ahead of time, so I knew the price. But then I
Right.
paid for an extra scalp scrub, and I did actually get a survey in my email, and I basically said the person who did my hair was lovely. Like she was a
Mhm.
I enjoyed talking to her. Your staff was great. However, walking out and spending $90 on a blowout that didn't last, by the way, a blowout for my
Yeah.
should last me over a week.
Yeah,
With fresh
fully.
shampoo and care, it should last me over a week. Not
Mhm.
the case.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm done bitching about it. The question is, what do y'all do?
I
Especially when you live in a small town. Like it's not like I can go to another dry bar or I can't go to another. Like that's the one, you know. So anyway,
right. Yeah,
just
absolutely.
anyway, it
Yeah.
made me pretty furious this week. I walked out. I was scathing. I was so mad at myself for doing it.
Well, and that's like, I mean, when I go to a dry bar, it's always because I'm like visiting a big city. It's like a treat, and then you don't get the thing that you like, the treat that you want it, and you're like, well, what the fuck have I just done? I've just
I
spent
think
a
that's
hundred
what.
dollars on,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
like a
think it's
treat.
like
Yeah.
yeah, you book something like that, or when you book a massage, and then
Hmm.
when you've paid the money and you were expecting to like relax, or you just wanted to have a good experience or something out of the norm, and then you don't get it and you're just pissed off. It's like having buyer's remorse when you get a different meal at a restaurant that you love and you didn't like
Right.
it. You're like,
Hmm.
damn, I came to this restaurant because I like this meal, and now I didn't even get that, and I hate what I had. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, please feel free, dear listener, to let us know what you guys do when you have a bad experience like that, and if you have had bad experiences at Dry Bar. Anyway,
All of a sudden we're gonna see just stop talking shit about our company. Um,
whatever. There have been. I went really deep in a rabbit hole about them after my last experience, and there is a whole Reddit thread of like people talking about Dry Bar and like how it's evolved and changed and like is not what it used to be. Yeah. So anyway, uh
interest.
my headline this week comes from Abortion Every Day by Jessica Valenti. And this also includes, I should add, there's a co-author on this post. This is from the co-author is Kylie Chung. This article talks about the title is "They're Coming for quote Life of the Mother Exceptions." So this article talks about how Republicans are introducing legislation that sort of like muddies the waters about what like life of the mother, sort of the expectations of what that means, and sort of what they want to change the language about what that means. So, for example, Senate Bill 553 was introduced by Wisconsin Republicans, and I'm going to read how it redefines abortion. So it says abortion does not include a physician's performance of a medical procedure or treatment designed or intended to prevent the death of a pregnant woman and not designed or intended to kill the unborn child, including an early induction or cesarean section performed due to a medical emergency or the removal of a dead embryo or dead fetus, or an ectopic pregnancy, an, an, an embryonic pregnancy. I don't know what that means, or molar pregnancy. So the state GOP has essentially claimed that they're trying to just make it easier for doctors to give life-saving emergency care to women. But the reason that she explains like how we know that's not true is because they've only allowed for, quote, removal of dead embryos and fetuses. So most of like post-Dobbs awful, abortion horror stories, is when a woman is denied care when their doomed pregnancy still has a heartbeat. So they're
Right.
kind of like redefining in a very like muddied way how, like, if the fetus still has a heartbeat, that means that those quote life-saving procedures won't be performed. But if the fetus does not have a heartbeat, then they can be performed. So she goes on to explain that like the bill's real tell talks about like what is defined as quote early induction or cesarean section. So yeah, really the only goal of the bill is to kind of like make this divorce happen between abortion and healthcare, and that's what Jessica explains in this piece. So we talk through and through about how Republicans are introducing these bills that like they think I think they think we're too stupid to like understand what the language of this really means and sort of like dissect what the language really means. But yeah, I mean, this is not uncommon. A very similar bill was introduced in Kentucky recently. This is, the umpteenth time that we've discussed abortion legislation and like sort of what is being tested in different predominantly red states. So this is kind of, what we see in these red states can certainly be an indicator of what we will see nationwide moving forward. So I think that's very jarring. Yeah.
Well, it's
So,
also, it's just, I mean, we can say it again, it's counterproductive to what they claim to want, which is they want more women to have more babies, and yet they continue to dream up legislation that only makes becoming pregnant something that makes women more fearful. Um,
mhm.
and now that I'm on the other side of actually giving birth, which was something that I was extremely fearful about, just so we're
Yeah.
clear, it it is I I couldn't be more pro-choice now.
Yeah.
Like I've always been pro-choice, but having a baby only made me that much more so. Like going
Yeah.
through the process of being pregnant, of being scared about my blood pressure and gestational diabetes, like all the things that we discussed in
Mhm.
the last episode, like all of that made me fearful. And I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but certainly makes you think four times.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
nice.
Well,
Uh,
and what I mean, I think another part that I find like hilarious about all of it, not hilarious, but like just like very, again, to your point, like counterproductive is that these like Republicans introduce this legislation in red states predominantly. And so it's like, okay, then women who do want to have children who are, in blue states, like those will likely be the women who decide to move forward with having children. The odds that those women are liberal or are Democrat are probably pretty high if they're living in a blue state. So you mean to tell me that the legislation you're introducing is going to make women in Republican states who maybe are Republican conservative more fearful of having children, maybe not even want to have children. And then those who live in blue states who maybe are more likely to be Democrats or liberals are going to be like, cool, like our state has proven over and over again that we're good to have children here, like we have the life-saving care we would need. Like, that is going to
mean,
be a product of this.
I think you're giving a lot of people too much credit who might live in some of those states. They're not
Well,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
They think it's not going to happen to them. And that, I mean,
Right, yeah.
that's the problem with our entire structure of politics as we know it is there's
Yep,
too many people
exactly.
in this country who think that Republican policies will not impact them.
Yep.
So in theory, yes, Meg. In practice, I think
Yeah,
you're
in
really
practice, it's gonna look
underestimating you're
yeah.
underestimating the privilege that some
Oh,
might
yeah.
exist with.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But what's interesting is this past week we saw
Hmm.
a nationwide rejection of Republicans up and down the ballot in red states, blue states. I mean, green eggs and ham. I don't know. Like it was
Everywhere. Yeah.
everywhere. Democrats won. New York, both gubernatorial contests in Virginia and New Jersey by large margins, larger than anticipated. By the way, I mean going into last Tuesday, there were a lot of people who were very concerned about Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey, and I mean, no contest. And I
Yeah,
think what it
none.
says is like, what a reset, right? From Republicans running around talking about their fucking mandate last year.
Yeah.
This only confirms that not only was there not a mandate, it also brings into question some other things. I'm not going to get conspiratorial here, but I'm like, if we won by this much this past week, was November of 2024?
Let me, you hang on, Mallory. You don't have to say this explicitly if you don't want to. I will. The election in November of 2024 was fucking rigged. It was rigged. Okay. Let's be abundantly clear about that. There is no data that tells me otherwise. Like that shit was fucked. All right. And this is
I'm sorry.
yeah, absolutely not. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Elon Musk and his whole fuck ass shit in Pennsylvania. Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. So let me make no mistake on that. I'm a conspiracy theorist about November of 2024. That shit was rigged as hell. Okay, like I will stand 2 feet down on that.
Last week certainly helps prove that point a little bit.
For sure.
Now it could be also an overcorrection. Could be people coming out and being like, whoa, what's going on here? This got chaotic. And he told you it would, so I don't know why that would surprise you. But yeah, I think we're seeing across the country not just a blue wave, but a fairly progressive faction getting a little bit more attention than it has in the past, and I think that was pretty evident, obviously, in New York.
I mean, I think the crazy stat that I had read earlier this week, and we talked about this before we got on, was Zohran Mamdani, when he won in New York, he won with the exit polls were showing a massive youth turnout that drove that result, obviously due in large part to his incredible social media campaign that he ran. I think if any progressive or Democratic candidate is looking for how to do social media for their campaign, you can look no further. So he won roughly half of the vote in a three-way race. So he won like about 50% overall, which was stronger than expected, as you noted. He won young men in this race, ages 19 to 29, by over 40 points.
Wow.
That is fucking crazy. So when we think about like the crisis we're facing with young men and them being these Nick Fuentes loving douche canoes, like who think that like that is the way of the future, this restored, at least for me, some sincere faith in young men in this country because they saw what he was doing. I think a think piece I was reading earlier this week made an excellent point that like Zohran Mamdani did not try to do anything that was overtly masculine, like in nature during his campaign. He wasn't trying to he was doing that push-up like situation, and he like kept dropping the bar and like laughing while he did it. Those are things that young men need to see. They need to be able to see that it's not so much about kind of like I'm going to take over all of this power, but more so about like I'm going to include my community and I'm going to include all of these other people in this fight because it's us versus them. So I think that was a sincere moment for me where I was like, oh, thank fucking God. Like, if the largest metropolitan area in the country can do that, then I don't think that's an anomaly. I don't think New York is an anomaly. I think that this could happen anywhere if
Yeah.
if Democrats can start to deploy the proper social media strategy, obviously, but also just candidates who are more progressive and younger. Like, Jesus Christ, we don't need,
It's not rocket
like,
science.
yeah, like, oh my God, Chuck Schumer, go fuck yourself. And thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for retiring. Like,
And I feel a little bit like, Bernie walked so he could run kind of thing right now.
absolutely,
We
absolutely.
we are seeing though among Democrats there's this sort of establishment rejection of him. There's a lot of folks who don't like him. Basically we're like Cuomo is the lesser of two evils here. By the way, Cuomo has sexual
He's a
assault
predator.
allegations. Why anyone would even be entertaining him is insane to me. The fact that he was even still a viable candidate to folks, he even had donors, is nuts to me. But anyway, he ran as an independent, quote unquote, in this race, and the fact that he was there at all is insane. But the
Mm-hmm.
Democratic establishment is still very much rejecting him, and we saw that in the fact that like Jeffries wouldn't endorse him even though he was the Democratic candidate. I mean, there's just a
Yep.
lot of like still this old stale way of thinking within the party, and I think that Zoran, he embodies what the future looks like. He represents this new wave, and I think AOC kind of, it was burning,
Mm-hmm.
and then AOC is kind of picking up steam as sort of this snowball effect. And you're right, he was everywhere. He
Yeah.
was everywhere in the city, and I think that his social media did a great job of displaying that. But it's also, when you've lived in New York, I've lived in New York, when you've got somebody who has that level of energy, who's bringing that level of excitement to something, I think that it's really exciting to see for the party, and I hope that the establishment Democrats don't shoot us in the foot for 2026 by trying to
Yeah.
stifle people like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are other candidates who are running in 2026 that I think are going to pick up on that same type of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's all because he has the word socialist he's a democratic socialist, and everyone's freaking out about that word, even though many of the programs across the country that we deploy and utilize on a daily basis are socialist programs.
I just like have to laugh because I'm like, y'all don't y'all don't know what that means. Like,
No.
people do not understand what socialism or even communism means. And let's be clear, we have never had a fully communist entity anywhere in the world yet. That has not ever existed. And like when people bring up socialism, it's like people have this, well, nothing is free. So it could be if you allocated funds differently, if you taxed billionaires, it could be. Like, these are things that people, if they, like, I don't know, read a fucking book or like picked up my number one recommendation for anybody who is like looking to understand more about socialism, or not even socialism, but like capitalism and why it doesn't work for anyone, is Vulture Capitalism. Grace Blakely wrote that. She's incredible. I highly recommend everybody to take part in that, especially before the midterm elections. Like, 2026 will be a massive it will, I think, provide so much knowledge for how 28 is going to go. And my sincere hope is that we embrace candidates like this because we have nothing else. Like, Democrat the establishments, they have nothing. Let
Well,
me
I
say
think
that again. The
so.
Democratic establishment has nothing. Like, they have nothing to offer anymore. So
And yet, Democratic messaging did just win.
it
So
did. It
we're
did.
kind of in this like, we've been dogging on Democrats for a while, and then they come and pull out a nationwide upset all in a
Hmm.
single day. And I do think there was much to be learned, and there's also much to be gained. But I also think
You're right. I'm being too mean. I'm sorry.
no, I mean, I think the critique is warranted for sure. The critique is warranted, but I think this election that just transpired, the word that they kept pushing and that seems to have permeated was the word affordability. And for the
Mm,
first time in over a decade, Democrats were presenting policy ideas, and specifically Mamdani presenting policy ideas that gave people something to vote for, not just voting
yes.
against the boogeyman on the other side of the aisle. And when people are disgruntled about his win and about him calling himself a democratic socialist, those are the very people who are like, well, we need to fix healthcare, we need to fix housing, but they're not presenting actual plans to do that. And he did. He
Yeah.
said, here's how we're going to make it happen.
Right.
And people get really squirrely about taxing
Hmm.
billionaires, and I don't, they shouldn't exist.
Absolutely
We talked
not.
about this. I don't, nobody can convince me that someone should be able to hoard that much wealth. It's just not natural, and it's not, it's not helpful to our society.
Yeah.
It's a sociopath.
I think like what we saw is, what you are describing is like Democrats finally played offense instead of defense. And that was made all the difference in this election. And I think that is what we need to take that, what we've learned from playing offense, actually present the solutions and not just talking about the problems and say, okay, how are we going to use this in 2026? How are we going to use this in 2028? How can we embrace people like Mamdani who do identify as democratic socialists because we are a two-party system still? How can we embrace somebody like that and get them on a ballot? Because we all generally speaking, are wanting the same things. We want affordability. We want people to have health care. We want people to have equal rights. Like that is not, no one is beefing over that. Those are all of the same wants that we have. So
Well,
yeah, I think yeah.
I also think that there's something to be said for the fact that Abigail Spanberger in Virginia and Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey are also Democrats, and they're
Hmm.
very centrist. And both
Yeah.
of these two things can exist in the world that they serve, right? Mamdani obviously has a plan of action that appealed to New Yorkers and to people who live in
Hmm.
New York City, because that city is extremely dynamic. It's full of people of all walks of life, every income bracket, and it doesn't work for everyone. And so he's got
Yeah.
his mission for his city. And in that same vein, Abigail Spanberger finished, with like, I don't know, 55, 56% of the vote against that crazy
56%, I
lady,
think. Yeah. Yeah.
crazy lady in Virginia. And also the lieutenant governor that won, Ghazala Hashmi,
Hmm. Yeah.
she's the first Muslim woman to win a statewide race in the United States. All that to say, very centrist, very middle of the road. Those two things can exist within our party, and that's okay. And
Yeah.
I think that we need to be challenging people who are Democrat and leftist to be okay with that. Like
Hmm.
whatever works for Virginia with Abigail Spanberger, that's great. If that's what Virginia wants and that's what they saw as a opportunity for their life to be better, awesome.
Yep.
Same in New York City, and they don't have to overlap. Virginia doesn't
Yeah.
have to fix a democratic socialist if that's not what they want. The point
Right. Yeah.
the point is that people should be able to run, they should be able to present their ideas, and we should be able to vote on those ideas
Yep.
instead of just going, I'm not Donald Trump, I'm not the Republican,
Yeah.
right? And
Absolutely.
I just look forward to seeing more of that in
Hmm.
2026.
Yeah. Likewise. Abigail Spanberger, first female governor of Virginia. And if I am not mistaken, I believe that Virginia flipped nearly every seat or nearly every county went blue almost in Virginia, which is crazy. Virginia used to be a incredibly blue state, and then for the last 10ish years we've seen it transform to purple and then deeply red. And so we're back, baby.
Virginia also expanded 10 seats in the House of Delegates this past Tuesday. So they gained 10 seats in their majority, which is just wild.
Pew pew pew.
Pew, 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 pew. And
We
then
have
New
an
Jersey,
air horn.
New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, like I said earlier, there was a lot of talk about whether or not her campaign was going to pull it through.
Hmm.
She's a former congresswoman. She and Abigail were actually roommates in Congress.
I
If I'm
read that.
yeah, I
That's so
love that for
fun.
them. That I
Yeah.
can't even imagine someone being my roommate and then both of us are like, hey, also,
Mallory and I each run for governor.
the amount of people that have texted me and been like, well, the results this past Tuesday could mean that 2026 is your year. Are you gonna run again? I'm like, with a newborn? Are you crazy?
Respectfully, I
No.
enjoy talking shit online far too much to run
Yeah.
for office right now.
I I have when I say I have no desire to walk into a room and try and convince people that Donald Trump is a psychopath anymore, I don't.
Correct. We will
But
donate though. We will donate.
yeah, I
We
actually
will.
said I'll help whoever
Yep.
wants to run. It's not
Yep.
gonna be. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, her campaign there was a lot of talk about whether or not she was going to be able to pull it out. Shitterelli,
Shitterly. Sorry.
Shitterelli. You know, he's the Trumper. Basically, was like, I'm here to do Donald Trump's bidding, and they were on the attack for Mikey. They watching that race from afar. I don't want to talk too much shit, but I don't know that it was the campaign was run very well from like a
Mm,
offense perspective. But you know what? Turned out to not matter. She got, I think, like 56% of the vote, and that
yeah.
exceeded the expectations of just about everyone, which I think is really interesting.
Really quick, can we go back to Spamberger? If I'm not mistaken about Abigail Spamberger, I believe they called that race about 15 minutes after the polls closed. So I think we had from Decision Desk, I believe they made that call at about, I think it was like 17% of the vote. And I think if I won the governor's race 15 minutes after polls closed, I would be popping my liberal pussy everywhere. I mean, I would be in the streets. I would be fucking rocking and rolling. Okay. I mean, that's impressive work.
It is, but you know what? It was like that with all the races, which was
Yeah.
crazy. So in a chat I was in, they were like, "Oh, they're calling it here and they're calling it there," and people kept saying, "Oh, it's too early. It's too early." But then it was pretty clear
Yeah.
very quickly that
Mm-hmm.
these races were without question. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, when we think about the fact that now I think it's 14 states, for the first time in history, 14 states have women governors, the most that there's ever been in history. I love that. I love that journey for us. I love that it was so decisive. I love that there's the margins don't allow for Republicans to come back and go, "Oh, well, it was a fluke," right?
Yeah.
They,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
they're unable to do that. And I think it speaks to the Republican brand nationally. It's just
Mm-hmm.
we've been saying like we don't understand how last year happened because it's there's just no way that many
Yeah.
people are this insane. I do think this past week helped me feel a little bit better about my fellow man slash woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you smell that, Mallory?
What am I supposed to smell?
That's the smell of a free and fair election. Sorry. I had to.
The other person that I really enjoyed watching win was the new mayor of Detroit. For the first
Yeah.
time ever, Detroit has elected a woman as a mayor, and she also happens to be a black woman. Her name is Mary Sheffield. Mary's election, yeah, it's a Democratic space, so it's like not super surprising, obviously, that a Democrat won. But what was surprising was that there was a really strong voter turnout, especially among young black voters, who had shown some fall off between like 2022 and 2024. So bringing some folks back into the fold, re-engaging that Democratic base, I think is really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting to see it across the country, you know, that we're not only retaining base, but bringing people back in.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe the New York election was the greatest voter turnout in mayoral history since 1965. 65 or 69. I can't remember which one it is, but since the 60s. So that was a pretty impressive stat that I saw about this particular election. So yeah, the voter turnout has been another amazing thing to see, I think, amongst the candidates we've just elected.
And as we mentioned before, like Mississippi, there were some upsets there. Mississippi was like, I mean, all up and down. It was like supervisor boards, state house, things that were considered like safe Republican. We've got school board seats, judicial seats. Also, Georgia. What was the? It was the Georgia. What was the race?
Yes, this is the Georgia Public Utility Regulator. So it's a five-person committee, and Democrats, they won a non-federal statewide office there. This was the first time since 2006.
Yeah.
So 20 years. That's pretty crazy.
There was also a bevy of seats in South Carolina that flipped, ones that were also considered like deeply held Republican, I and then there's Prop 50 in California.
I literally was just thinking, oh my God, Prop 50. Yeah, amazing.
Gavin Newsom's.
The Taylor Swift, the father figure video. I can't. That's my favorite.
He
That's like my
said
favorite meme of all time.
I'm fully expecting. Okay, if you guys haven't seen it, go to Gavin Newsom's social media. In the song, she says the lines, "My dick's bigger," and
Yeah.
I fully expected that video that he made, where he is trolling Trump, calling himself Trump's daddy. I fully expected that video to cut off before that line. It did not.
It did not. I did not. And I love that. I love that for Gavin. We can definitely and safely expect a 2028 run from Gavin Newsom. And
And at
I
this
will
point, if he
be,
doesn't, I'll be mad at him.
yeah, honestly. And at this point, like, I'm just really excited to see what his social media team cranks out for that election. I think it'll be great.
I also now I'm gonna start fantasizing about Gavin Newsom's social media against JD Vance and Gavin Newsom debating JD Vance because JD is, we've said it before and I'll say it again, the little twerp. He's such a twerp, and he his ability to debate is actually quite good. His
Yeah.
vice presidential debate that he did with Governor Walz was, I was like, oh, okay, I forgot we were dealing with
A
a lawyer.
sociopath?
Yeah, and also different. But I think watching Gavin Newsom absolutely decimate him in every way would be
Absolutely.
this case. But yeah, Prop 50 in California, gonna redistrict California, pick up a couple of seats. I think it's 5 there
Hmm.
for the next cycle. And I still don't think that Democrats have quite caught up with the gerrymandering situation with Texas and the other states, but at least we're, as Gavin would say, fighting fire with fire and starting
Hmm.
that process, getting that rolling.
Do you know what JD Vance is? Like, do you know like just like the word that I would use to describe JD Vance?
I've
He's
got him, but you go for it.
he's just a boob. You know, like he's just like a fucking boob. Like
I, you
he
know, I think the word I've actually used is noob, so we're close.
or that, yeah, like he's just like a fucking boob. Like he's just like the worst person you could get stuck with at like a cocktail party. Like it, yeah.
I will give him this. This is the only thing I'm gonna give him. He dressed up as that meme of him for Halloween. The meme of him with the curly hair and the fat face. He dressed up as that for Halloween, and
Yeah.
I guess I'll give you that one.
I'll say one more thing on JD Vance. So I had a woman who, if you are not yet familiar, I made a video talking about dresses that I think Erica Kirk will wear when she marries JD Vance. It kind of popped off on both TikTok and Instagram. And listen, it is some of my better work. This woman commented and she goes, she goes, I love JD's reaction to these videos. And in parentheses, she goes, and yes, I send them to him. And yes, I know him personally. And I replied, and I literally just go, cool, like with a question mark. I was just like, okay, what a fucking weird thing to say, first of all, on someone's video that's like very clearly making a lot of fun of this person. But like, I just like, what a weird fucking thing to say. What an awful thing to admit that you're like close personal friends. What's
She
that? No, she like was being so dead ass. And I like, cause I went to her profile and I was like kind of snooping around. I was like, what the fuck is going on
was
here?
she thinking that you were gonna care?
Well, right. I'm like, sister, I don't know what was happening. Shameless plug. I did just post part 2 to that this morning. So if you're in need of some comedic relief, then hopefully that can help. But yeah, he's a boob anyway.
Well, and so I do want to point out though, we're not quite done for 2025. So
Yes,
November
we've got
4th
some more.
was the big election day, which hilariously, did you see that people in Kentucky were upset because they couldn't vote, only to find out that they didn't have any elections?
That's like the most
But
Kentucky thing ever.
yeah, the attorney general had to release a statement that was like, you can't vote for the governor of Virginia. Anyway, but I want to point out we've got a special election happening in Tennessee, Tennessee 7. Afton Bain is running against a West Point dude. I think that the election is December 2nd. I'm sorry, I didn't look that up. However, if you have resources to deploy, aka a couple extra dollars, I would love for you to send them towards Afton Bain. That's another long shot district, but winnable. It could happen, especially given all the things that we've just discussed, the landscape of, the tariffs, agriculture, everything that's transpiring. And it also includes Nashville, the district. So
Mm,
there's a lot of opportunity there for us to pick up another congressional seat, and we need to do that. And then in 2026, guys, we keep saying it, but the midterms are coming, and midterms started last year on
yeah.
the election day. So if you've been like waiting around to get involved with the campaign, don't. There are plenty of
Yeah.
people who have announced that they're running. Amy McGrath in Kentucky is running for Mitch McConnell's Senate seat. Get involved in her campaign if you can. We've got John Ossoff, who's up for re-election. We've
Yep.
got the governor's race in Alabama, where Tommy Tuberville is running, and God help us all.
Hang on.
Um,
Wait, can we just pause on that really quick? Did I read somewhere, was this satire or is this real, that AJ McCarron is on his campaign?
I
Shut the
knew,
fuck up right now. And
I
is it
knew.
the old Auburn head coach that's also running with him?
No,
Or
no, no.
no?
So Tommy Tuberville was Auburn's head coach.
Okay. Yes, yes,
He's
yes. Okay.
Yeah, so he's a senator. Now he's running for the governor. And then AJ McCarron is a former football player who, Maggie, I kid you not, I'm not joking when I say this, registered to vote 3 days before he announced that he was going to run for the lieutenant governor's seat. The man is like 34 years old. He's never voted.
I have a photo with AJ McCarron when I was 17 at my first time visiting
He the one
Alabama.
that's married to Catherine, what's her face?
Catherine, what's her nuts? Yeah. Hmm.
That was in Miss Alabama USA or something. So that's happening. We've got elections happening across the country. So now is the time. If you are not involved, find somebody that stands out to you. There's really inspiring candidates. There's Mallory McMorrow in Michigan. Sign up to volunteer for their campaign. Phone bank from them. You can do that from anywhere, or donate a couple of dollars, be a monthly donor, whatever you can do. It's now. It starts now. And if we continue to see this level of involvement and momentum build, 2026 will be exactly what we need it to be. But be
Yep.
prepared. Every candidate's going to need help because the Republicans are going to retaliate based on this election cycle that just
Yeah.
happened. Going to
Hmm.
retaliate based on November 4th, and we need all hands on deck. So if you thought it was important before, it's more important now.
And specifically, I would say, of course, yes, if you don't have monetary funds to donate or contribute, obviously phone banking, you can literally send text messages from your house. Like it is so easy. If you do have money to donate, I know that people are asking people to donate to every single thing right now because we are basically relying on mutual aid to sustain us at this point because our government is absolutely fucked. uh if you have money, like Democratic candidates need your dollar. If you have $2 that you can donate on a monthly recurring basis, I cannot stress this enough. These campaigns need your money a lot. So that is a big portion of this. If you are somebody who just can throw $5 extra towards a candidate, please do. That is my plea to people. I know that like money is so tight for everybody right now, and we are asking people to donate to food banks and all of the things, but it's going to really matter in 2026 that these Democrats have resources to pull from. So I will just drive that point.
So important. Let me just share with you something. I read a headline the other day and I just went to find it so that I could be correct. CBS News says that Republicans ended the first half of 2025 with $65.56 million in cash on hand. To the Democrats, are you ready for the number?
Oh, this is going to make me ill.
Republicans ended with $65.56 million on hand, and Democrats ended the first half of 2025 with $15.2 million cash on hand. We are $50 million behind the Republicans and still managed to pull off quite the upset this past week. We still managed to win. So money is important, even if it's just a little bit here and there. You can make all the difference in a campaign. And if you have a skill, by God, volunteer.
Donate that skill. Yep.
Donate skill. If you are a person who can edit video or you like to write and you can write for a candidate, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff you can do from afar. So reach out to those campaigns and get involved. 2026 is around the corner and everybody needs your support.
Yes. And don't forget to keep calling all of your congresspeople. Let's save democracy.